Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pearl. Happy birthday to you.
So glad you're here. The same, exactly like I have. I'm Annie Pinsker.
And how do you know Pearl?
Pearl is my surrogate mother. My parents grew up with her, and then as soon as I went to Juilliard, they shipped me off to her house so I would be safe, and she was my mother, and Lou was my father.
I am Fred Tilden, and Pearl is my kid's third grandmother.
I'm Roseanne Mandel, and I have known Pearl since probably before I was born. Or Pearl has known me since before I was born. My parents and Pearl and Lou and Ann Pinsker's parents all grew up together in Philadelphia.
So my name is Lisa Namaro. I am Martha Namaro's daughter and one of Pearl's soulmates, along with Selma Pinsker and others.
I'm Natasha Mandel, and Pearl grew up with my grandparents in Philadelphia and is now our great aunt. Great aunt?
I'm Lee Mandel, part of the Mandel clan, father of Natasha. And not only did Pearl grow up with my parents, but Pearl and my dad, as Pearl will tell you, at pretty much the drop of a hat, dated for a while.
My name is Alex Mandel, the final Mandel clan member here. Like Natasha, Pearl is my great aunt / second grandmother, I guess. She changed my dad's diapers, so I've known her as long as I have been alive, I would say.
Okay, what you do? Happy birthday,
May there be 95 more. Joan Salzberg.
Yeah, but
middle school.
Here's
Just so you know, everybody in this room is like family.
Well, I'm Drew Gordon, and I'm with Aurora, so that's how I know Pearl. It's always poker on the island.
What do you want?
yeah, come on, you know.
Of course I'll bring it to you. Come to my
The
house.
after party.
Yeah, after the bottle of beer.
Well, where I am was a surprise.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that at all. And they're my neighbors from my block. I was hoping you'd be in charge of
Tickets to see SpongeBob SquarePants.
So I was in charge of I'm Eva. My father, Jack, was Lou's first cousin. I remember Pearl as long as I can remember. I remember staying at their house down in the village. Lou and Pearl were at my parents' house all the time, arguing about politics all the time.
How I met Pearl, I have to think about that. I think it was through Susan.
Oh, through Susan.
I think it was.
I think it was too.
Yeah. I know. We went to visit Susan at the beach. We play royalty. We go to the movies. We go to the movies. We go to the movies.
Name, Doug Chapman, Sarah Zeitz Chapman's son, Bob Chapman's son, and Pearl. This is one of your nephews, and in 2018, I think what you should expect is that there will be cataclysmic changes in the American political scene, and that the people will rise up and vote in the Democrats during the off-year election, and Trump will be impeached.
About their memories of Pearl over the years. I wrote mine down. Thank you, hi. So I'll start first and then other people will go.
I'm after you, because I haven't eaten yet.
I remember camping all over California.
And there are kids in this room that I grew up with there. Lee and Roseanne and Annie. We camped Lake Tahoe, Big Sur, Redwood Forest, all over, hiking, swimming. And my mother and I made a paper mache mask. And I had a carrot nose and coal eyes and mouth. The other costume I remember was an octopus. I remember Pearl telling me when I was about 10 that she did not want me to watch Amos and Andy because it made fun of Negroes at the time, which I feel really grateful for. I remember going to Alvin Ailey every winter in New York. We moved to New York in 1962. I remember going to Shakespeare in the Park every year. From Laurie McGuire, Ruthie's daughter. I wish we could be there, sending love and celebration and wishes for health and happiness to Pearl and family. From all of us, Moss and McGuires, Ruthie's love lives on as well.
Kathy, for creating and the idea of this party and finding this place and
it's you.
Getting it all
This was a New York hospital. Pearl called me and said, Lou is there, and you wanted to see him, and you wanted to see him before things happened, and before he went to heaven, where we all know he is, because he never named names before the House Un-American Activities Committee. And so I turned to him and I said, you lucky dog, you. It turned out that he had a heart attack where he lost about 60% of the capacity of his heart.
This is about Pearl.
I'm going to get the pearl.
Pearl.
Very important. Anyway, and little by little, he made a comeback, which he would never, ever have done, but for this woman here, the way she nurtured him, encouraged him.
Robbie's going to be next.
Poised, easygoing, accomplished, resilient, lovable. Put them all together, they spell a 15 years very beautiful, cultured. And Robbie, and yes, there's some X's and some O's after.
And I just had written a postcard on the card with the construction of the Temple of Jerusalem to give it depth. Pearl, across days, weeks, months, and years, greetings and salutations and recollections of the Bank Street years when my children Marcial and Alina were students there, and beyond to now when your daughter Kathy and I walk and talk together. Salud, the amor, and time to enjoy the men.
Thank you. Lisa.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Namro. My mother was Martha and one of Pearl's soul sisters, I would say. I first met Pearl and then of course Lou in the spring of my senior year, the same year that Nate Mandel entered our lives. And I say ours because my mom and I were kind of close.
Life.
Yes, my life. I know, not your life. And that year, Mom and I were living by ourselves, and so anything that was happening to her was also happening to me, right? So I remember clearly that as she and Nate were getting very close, and it was time to meet Nate's circle of friends.
Martha and Nate.
Let's be clear about that.
Maybe I'm not going to stand next to her. Stand over there. Always the teacher. All right, so where was I? So anyway, when Mom was ready to meet Nate's circle of friends, she was more nervous about meeting Pearl Zeitz and Selma Pinsker than even Nate's children, Lee and Roseanne and Mark. at first in this wonderful friendship, it was the four of them, Nate, Lou, Pearl, Martha, hanging out in Majorca, Block Island, New York City. And while my mom was off somewhere across that Atlantic pond, it was Pearl and I think Lou who came to my residency graduation, right? Martha was nowhere to be found.
Yes.
And when I had something to say and I thought Pearl might understand it a little more or maybe be a little bit more excited, I often called you before Mom. Don't tell her, okay? And then once my first daughter was born, it was Pearl. We have a picture of Pearl reading books to Jackie when Jackie was 2 to 3 months old. She had Jackie propped in a chair and the book propped up, and it was shapes and colors and sizes, and you were reading to her, which is why she started talking at 9 months. And then we moved to
stopped.
Yeah, and then we moved to Hartford, and Pearl had further to travel, but there she was at almost every play. I think almost every birthday and most of our celebrations, right?
This is 3 girls.
And at one such play, I remember introducing Mom and Pearl to a friend of mine, and I simply said, "These are my 2 moms, Martha and Pearl." And then I smirked. And then I kind of called Pearl aside and I said, "Is that okay if I introduce you that way? You know, that these are my 2 moms?" And Pearl, what did Pearl say?
Of course.
Pearl said, "I've been Rosie the Riveter. I'm a women's rights leader way before there were women's rights, and let them think what they want." Pearl was there to hold her hand and mine when my mom passed a year ago, 2 years ago, and for that I will forever be grateful. So, dear Pearl, not only did you enrich my mom's life by sharing your ex-boyfriend, Nathan Mandel, your husband, your passion, people had lots of ideas about what the 3 of them were doing, your interests, your family, and your love, you have so completely enriched mine. Whether I call you my other mom, Grammy Pearl, or just my dear friend, I do it with the deepest admiration and love, and I am honored to be a part of this celebration and your life.
Last night, and I think if I remember correctly, other years, Pearl told me, excuse me, but she told me she dated my dad. So when I was ready for college, my parents had left the East Coast with all of these guys and moved to California. And I was getting ready to go to Juilliard, and my dad was really worried about me living in New York, as he should have been.
He couldn't even
And
think
he
of it.
called them up and said, "Can Annie live with you?" So I moved in my first year of college at 14th Street, West 11th Street, West 11th Street with Pearl New. And just like Lisa said, they came to my Juilliard recital instead of my parents. They became my parents. Their cat would bite my feet. I would bring my boyfriend upstairs to what used to be Kathy's and Jan's rooms. And so she's my surrogate mother too. And she's been everything to me, so we love her.
And here she is.
This is an ode to Comrade Pearl with a nod to A.A. Milne and Susan Kanoy.
In 1922, I was barely new.
In 1938, the Depression was great.
In 1952, being a mother was still new. And McCarthy was too. But with Pearl's loyalty, Lou did shine through.
1968, it sealed the fate of Martin and Robert, and Pearl did agitate.
By 1984, Orwell knew the score, that Bank Street's young readers with Pearl's help did soar.
2001, 9/11 had come. Another war had begun, and out in LA, another great grand had come.
2017 is now far from serene, but at 95, Pearl's fully alive.
She's creme de la creme and comrade supreme.
I student taught in the 1960s with someone who was not just a teacher. She was and is also a political activist. There was a lot of anti-war stuff going on at that time, and we were both part of a group who went to Washington to protest the Vietnam War. We bonded. She became my mentor and has been with me every step of the way. I remember when I took leave from a job, she sat with me and weighed the pros and cons about leaving it or going back to it. That was from Boulder to New York.
Right.
She's been my oak tree. She embodies the best of progressive pedagogy that I learned in graduate school. She made me the strong teacher I think I am and have been. There are many other teachers I had too, but she's it for my work, professional self. So you are in a book with me.
First student teacher that I ever met.
Dear Pearl, many congratulations on your birthday. You were such a supportive presence in my early years at Bank Street back in the 70s. Art was so central to the teaching of social studies, and you helped me to become a collaborative teacher working on social studies related art.
Things about Pearl. And one is something that probably most of you don't know and you might be shocked to know, but Pearl threw me and my husband Joel out of our house. Do you recall this?
Vaguely.
Well, I'll fill you in.
Yes.
This was almost 26 years ago, and we were on Block Island with Lizzie. She was 3 months old.
Yeah.
And we were first time new parents, and I guess Pearl, it was very obvious to Pearl. And one night she came over and she said, "Get out." She said, "You're going out to dinner and I'm staying with the baby." And that's exactly what happened. And so Pearl will always be known in our family as the first outside of the family babysitter. It was very, very special. And the other thing I just want to say is something that she taught me and my family, speaking of teaching. And my sister-in-law, Helen, who's always been in awe of Pearl, said to her years ago, "What's your secret?" And Pearl said, and you've probably all heard this, "Keep moving." Thank you. So special. You threw us out, Pearl.
And this is a card from someone probably nobody knows, a woman who was a little girl in Los Angeles with Kathy and I and Pearl, Katie Dilks.
Oh.
And she went to Westland School. Happy birthday, Pearl. We're sorry to miss your party. We'll be in Ecuador. We thought Matisse's wonderful dance was a fitting image for your 95th birthday, an amazing achievement. I often think of going to your house after school and loving the warmed matzahs with butter that you made for us. Much, much love to you, Katie, and her husband,
This
Steve.
is 1956-57.
And I have so many memories that are a lot like Kathy's. I feel I have the blessing of the gift of so many of what the things Pearl did with us that I have repeated and continue to love to do with my kids and my grandkids over there. And this is Pearl at 95 in my garden.
Oh, wow.
Take it
Yeah, I had the honor of living with Pearl and getting to know the 80th Street clan. And I just feel so fortunate to have had that time with you.
Me too.
And
You too, you're included.
these two, yes, they spent a lot of their time in my uterus there at 80th Street. And she kept saying to me, "You're having twins." Because I hadn't found out until I was 5 months, and she called it. She knew it.
You all being here.
Probably one more.
Anybody else?
Jane Hopkins
Oh.
sent you that purple hydrangea, which is not alive, so it doesn't have to be in water. But and she said, she writes, "To the grandest woman I know. Sorry I can't be there, but we'll be thinking of you with love. Jane."
It was a summer evening, and we were in your backyard. And you, and I know Ruthie, I'm not sure who else was there, came back from a lecture. It was a panel discussion by the guys or the women that write the jokes for the New Yorker. And I was like, are you kidding? On a good day, I get 10% of those jokes. These guys were at a discussion.
I really, on behalf of my whole family, I mean, you saved me growing up. You know, here I was stranded in upstate New York, and you and Lou were all things cosmopolitan and interesting, actually. And so from 11th Street to, you taught me how to read within the city in the Bank Street Reader, and to collecting monarch eggs from underneath milkweed leaves and cutting out Snyder's pretzel boxes to watch their chrysalises form. And so you have always been my beacon of hard work and endless curiosity, and thank you for being my aunt.
Well, I'm Michelle Gilman. I'm sure not too many, or not a great percentage of people here know me. What I have to say is, having listened, and I'm for sure Randy, my husband, are very jealous of the years other people have had with you. And I have to add one thing that seems to be missing. No talk about gambling.
A light of integrity and political stamina, and we looked to you and we followed you in terms of the culture of the school, who we were, but also the wider world when we would go out and demonstrate all the time, having to do with the war, peace, civil rights. And I just want everyone to know what she meant to us here at Bank Street, because she was extraordinary. And many kisses.
So Henri Mandel, for those of you who don't know me, part of the greater clan. And I would like to amend some previous comments. To live is not to work. For Pearl, to live is to teach. Something that, as the son of a teacher who taught with Pearl and then taught away from Pearl, you don't realize teaching is going on because it just happens around you. And it just is. It's part of your life and you don't see it. And I didn't really become aware of Pearl as the teacher until after Lou died. Right after Lou died, maybe a week later, I got in the mail from Pearl the journal that she kept. I'm sure many of you got it. And I sat down and I read it. And it was her diary of her days at the hospital. And I thought, as I was reading it, my God, this incredible woman is teaching us how to handle when your loved one dies. And that's when I realized that Pearl will always be the teacher. And so, keep teaching, Pearl.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pearl.